face me and raise your right hand. Please stand.
Oh, sorry.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat and would you stand? And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Gessica Sementilli, Gessica Sementilli.
May I proceed?
Good morning.
Sementilli. I'm going to have to ask you some questions. I'm sure this is uncomfortable for you, but I'm going to try to get through the questions with you, okay?
Okay.
All right. First of all, how old are you today?
I'm 26.
Okay. And are you the daughter then of the defendant? You see your mom in court?
Yes.
And your dad was Fabio?
Yes.
And then do you have a sister?
Yes.
What's your sister's name?
Isabella.
And how old is she right now?
24.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions about the day your dad was killed. And if you need any breaks, let me know, okay? You okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's get through this. You guys had moved to Woodland Hills from Canada like around 2010, is that right, as a family?
We moved to Tarzana first, then Woodland Hills, but yes.
And you ended up then at the 5012 Queen
Yes.
Victoria? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about that day. Starting in the morning, if you could just walk us through the morning. You remember that day, obviously. If you could walk us through the morning, do you remember what time you got up about?
I think I got up around 11:30, 12, and I know I went to the gym with my mom that day.
Okay. So when you got up and you went to the gym, that was around like 11:40 or so you left for the gym?
Yes.
I know the court reporter's gonna turn around and look at me because we are talking over each other. So I'm gonna ask a question. I know you're probably nervous. Just wait so that she can type my question and then she can type your answer, and I'll try not to cut you off too.
Got it.
Okay. So you woke up around 11:40 and you went to the gym. Now, when you got up, who was home?
Mom, dad, me.
And where was your sister, if you know?
School.
So at that time, was your sister in high school?
Yes.
And how old was your sister at that time?
16, 17.
Okay, and how old were you?
18.
And were you in school?
I was in community college.
Okay, so you were home with your mom and dad in the morning. Do you remember anything about the morning? Did you see your dad that morning?
Yes.
Can you just tell us what you remember?
He was sitting at the island working on his computer in the kitchen.
And then you decided to go to the gym?
Yes, with my mom.
So you guys both went to the gym. Who drove to the gym?
My mom. No, me.
All right. And what kind of car did you have?
A red Mustang.
If I may mark these people's 229 a photograph and a red Mustang. Is that your car,
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Okay. So you and your mom left for the gym in your car around 11:40 or so. And what gym was that?
LA Fitness.
Okay. Is that a gym you'd been to before?
Yes.
Were you a member there?
Yes.
And you knew your mom to be also?
Yes.
Okay. What were you going to the gym for? Obviously, were you going there to work out?
Yes.
All right. Tell us what happened when you got to the gym.
We got to the gym. We went on the treadmills. We worked out our legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know, you did the workout then. Do you know, back then, did you know who Rob Baker was?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see him at the gym that day?
No. We saw her trainer, Matt.
And people's sport team, Rob Baker?
Yes.
Okay. So you did a workout, and then did you leave? How long were you there?
Not even an hour.
Okay, so if you left around 12:43, you've seen video in court. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
And then what happened? You went straight home?
Yes, we went home.
Okay, tell us about when you got home, if you can walk through who was there and what happened.
When I got home, it was me, my mom, and my dad. I left with my friend Sahar to pick up kids that she was nannying because she didn't want to go alone. And then I came back, and it was just dad.
Okay. Now, by the way, when you're at the gym, you said that you're on the treadmill and you did legs. Your mom didn't play racquetball.
No.
And you didn't play racquetball.
No, I never played.
When you got home, you saw your dad. What was your dad doing when you got home? A little around like 12:45, 1 o'clock, that time frame.
Working on the computer in the island kitchen.
He was still at the same
Yes.
place?
Yes.
And then you left again, is that what you said?
Yes.
Where did you go?
With my friend Sahar to pick up kids that she was nannying at Hale Middle School.
Do you know what time that was?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it was immediately when I got back from the gym, and then I came back right after that.
All right, so when you got home, your dad was at the counter. Did you guys have lunch or anything?
Yes, he made me lunch.
And your mom had lunch with you guys?
No, she left at this point.
Do you know where she went at this point?
No, she said she was going to run errands.
Now, if you got home at about, let's say you got home closer to 1, right? And then does it sound right you went to pick up the kids about 2:30?
Yeah,
Had your mom left before you left to go pick up those kids?
I don't recall.
Okay, but she went to go run an errand.
Yes.
Did you see her again that day?
No.
Okay. So she left before you ever left to
Yes.
go pick up the kids. So you went to go pick up these kids and you came back. What time did you come back?
In time to leave for babysitting at like 3:40, so.
So you were gone less than an hour?
Yes.
And when you came back, where was your dad?
At the island kitchen,
What was he doing, if you remember?
working on the computer.
Do you know anything about a power washer that day, him fixing or taking a power washer in to be repaired?
No.
Do you remember telling the detectives that in February of 2021 that he'd been trying to fix a power washer over the weekend? Does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay, that's okay. And then your dad had a Porsche, right?
Yes.
Had he just gotten that Porsche?
Yes.
Where did he keep it?
In the garage.
And where did you park?
I parked on the street.
Where did your sister park?
In the driveway.
What did your sister drive at that time?
A red Fiat.
And then what was your mom driving during that time?
Either the Fiat or Dad's old truck.
Is that the F-150?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, when you come and go from your house, how do you exit your house?
Through the front door and through the gate, but the gate to the house is almost always open.
So which gate are you talking about?
The front gate to the house, it's almost always open. We just close it at night.
All right. And then do you also exit through the garage?
No.
One moment. Okay, so you came back then, and then when you came back, you left to go babysit. What time were you supposed to babysit?
I think at 4:30.
So you left around 3:40, you thought?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
For her to type. All right, so walk us through then. You went to go babysit. What happened then?
I went to go babysit. The mother, Deborah, left to go run errands, which is normal when I was babysitting. And she came back very soon after, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and told me to go home right away. And she wouldn't tell me why. And so I just left.
What time was that about, do you know?
Probably 5,
Okay.
5:40.
And who was this that you were babysitting for?
Deborah Obad's child, Max.
And how did you know Deborah?
She was our neighbor when we first moved to California in Tarzana.
Was she good friends with your mom?
Yes.
Was she good friends with your dad?
Yes.
And then did you know her fairly well?
Yes.
Did you guys ever socialize with Deborah Obad? Or Obad?
Yes.
What about, was she married?
Yes.
And who was her husband?
Mike Campbell.
So would you consider them good family friends?
Yes.
Now, after everything happened, and I'm talking about your mom's arrest, did you end up living with Deborah?
No.
Did you ever stay with her?
Yes.
And how long did you stay with them?
A night or two.
Okay. All right. So that night then, on January 23rd, 2017, after you're babysitting at Deborah's, you haven't been there very long, she comes back and tells you, what, you need to go home.
Yes.
Did she appear to you worried, upset?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask her why or what's going on?
Of course.
Okay. What happened?
She wouldn't tell me. She told me to go home and they'll explain it when I get home.
So what did you do?
I went home.
How far or how long did it take you to get home from Deborah's house?
Not even 10 minutes. She lived very close.
So shortly, would you say after 5 you arrived home?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Did you park? Where did you park?
On the street.
And walk us through then what happened when you got home. Where did you walk in?
When I pulled up to the house, I noticed all the fire trucks, and so I parked. I walked towards the house. I noticed the garage door was open, which was not normal, and I walked to the garage. All the firemen are there, and one of the firemen just said, "Your dad's dead." First thing I heard, and I walked inside. They told me not to look outside or look at the kitchen, and I didn't. I kept my head down, and I walked into our dining room, which was adjacent to the kitchen. And Mom's in shock, and Bella's not talking, and no one's telling me what's going on.
Okay. I'm sorry to go through this again. We'll try to get through this. The firemen told you that outside?
Yes.
So when you went inside then, you saw your mom and your sister. Where were they?
At the kitchen table.
Okay. And what were they doing?
Mom is inconsolable, screaming, crying. Bella's not speaking.
Okay. Now, what did you see as far as the scene?
I didn't see anything. I kept my head down, and we were in the living room, or the kitchen table, the dining room. There's nothing to see there.
Did you see some blood in the house? We won't talk about outside.
On the floor, I saw a little bit when I kept my head down.
Did you see any on your mom?
No.
Did you tell the police that you'd seen blood on her hands?
No.
You didn't tell the police that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Would looking at a transcript refresh your recollection on that, possibly?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. And I'm going to move on while I'm talking to you. What did you do then when you sat down?
Just asking questions to the officers what was going on. And they kept saying they have no answers for us.
Okay. So what happened next, and how long were you inside?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember the rest of that night at all. I remember going to the neighbor's house across the street because they told us we couldn't be in the house anymore. I don't know how long after that was when I got home. And then I remember being interviewed a million times after that at the neighbor's house.
So what neighbor's house did you go to?
Her name is Vanessa. I can't remember her husband's name.
Now, did other people arrive at the house when you were there with your mom and your sister?
Yes, I had my friend Sahar come. My sister had her boyfriend at the time come. And Mom had her friend Elise come.
One moment. So, who are those friends? Can you describe who those friends are?
My friend Sahar, I knew her from school. Isabella's boyfriend at the time, she's from school, and Elise was from the gym.
Okay. Now, you knew Elise pretty well?
Not pretty, I just knew of her because I saw her at the gym, and I did a yoga class with her once.
Okay, and at that time you really liked Elise, and it was your mom's friend?
Yes.
Okay. What happened then as far as when you went across the street, what happened?
I was interviewed by the detectives that were there.
What did they ask you?
To run through the day and questions about
what had happened,
yes,
what
yes.
you'd done that day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ever have any like crisis team people come and talk
yes.
to you or anything like that?
Yes.
When did that happen?
At the neighbor's house.
After that, did you ever do any counseling or any kind of therapy, anything like that to date?
I didn't. Isabella did.
Did you just choose not to?
Correct.
You didn't want to do it?
Right.
Okay. Now, before you went to your babysitting job, do you remember your mom just texting you, "Don't be late," and kind of going back and forth with that?
I don't remember it happening that day, but she always did that.
Texted you about your babysitting appointments?
If she knew about them, yes.
Okay, so she knew you had a babysitting appointment.
Maybe. I don't know about that day. Sometimes she knew, sometimes she didn't know.
Well, if she texted you, "Don't be late for babysitting," then...
But I'm saying I don't know if she texted me that day.
Okay.
If she did, then she knew, but
okay.
I don't remember.
Typically, it's something you told her.
Not typically. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay. So... One moment. And your friend Sahar came over then when you were across the street with the neighbors?
Yes.
Now, where did you sleep that night?
At Deb's house.
That's Deborah Obad?
Deborah Obad.
Obad. All right. I want to ask you some questions then about your video surveillance system. Mm-hmm. So you had a video surveillance system in your house, right?
Yes.
And that was cameras that were hooked up around your house?
Yes.
Now, do you know if those cameras were working during the time frame of January 2017?
Yes.
They were working?
To my knowledge, yes.
So inside your house, you had a monitor that sat on the kitchen?
It was inside the garage, right outside. Once you open the door from the kitchen, on the right-hand side, there was the monitor there with the VCR for the cameras.
Okay, so I'm talking about the actual screen where you
It was
could
in the
see-
garage.
And did you have it in the kitchen at one point on the counter?
Not that I remember.
Okay. And in the garage, actually where the Porsche is parked, you had the DVR boxes there on top of that. Kind of a white
Yes.
was it refrigerator or cabinet or
Yes.
something?
And the monitor was on top of that.
When you knew that the monitor was on top of that?
Yes, that's where we went to go look for the cameras. It was never inside the kitchen that I remember. It was always inside the garage, the monitor.
Okay. I'm going to show you a photo in a minute. I'm talking about in your kitchen, there's a counter and then there's a big monitor. You don't remember that being in your kitchen?
No, I remember maybe at one point it was, but I remember that most of the time it was in the garage.
Okay. Was that after, are you remembering that after the murder happened, it was put in the garage?
No, because it was gone at that point. So no, it was before. At some point it was in the garage. Maybe at some point it was inside the kitchen, but.
Okay. Do you recall being able to view your cameras when you're in your house or your garage, wherever
Yes.
you believe it to be? You could view the camera footage from the outside around the house.
Yes.
Okay. So then the day of this, as far as your DVR system, did you have access to it on your phone?
No.
Did your, do you know that you could access it from a phone?
Yes.
Did your mom have access to it on your phone, on her phone?
Both mom and dad.
And how did you know that?
Because when they came to set it up sometime in 2016, I was there, so I heard them talking about the app that it was connected to.
You heard who talking about it?
The person setting up the cameras.
And who is he talking to?
Mom and dad.
Okay. You remember your mom and dad being there?
Yes.
Okay. And he was explaining how to set up the cameras on your phone to view it on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Did your mom then ever talk about being able to log in from her phone to view the cameras?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, had there been a time where she saw you on camera and commented to you that she saw you coming or leaving or something like that?
No.
Okay. She just had mentioned that she could view it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as that system, after this happened, you never, to your knowledge, set up a new camera system, right? Meaning you never reinstalled them, plugged them in, got the cameras working again.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Did you ever, to your knowledge, get the cameras working again, or plugged in again, or whatever, a new DVR box?
No.
Now, did that make you concerned knowing what had happened in your house?
No, because the detectives said that it was a knock-knock burglar and they wouldn't do it again, so I wasn't worried.
So you weren't afraid?
No.
Okay. What about going on the back patio? You said the day of it, you didn't go out there and you didn't see your dad, right?
Correct.
Now, did it concern you at all about the back patio or going out there, anything like that?
After the fact?
Yes.
No.
You weren't concerned?
No, I felt close to my dad when I sat outside there.
Okay. Is that a place that your dad hung out a lot?
Yes, all the time.
And did he have his, we've talked about it, his favorite chair?
Yes.
Did he work out there a lot?
Yes.
And when did he work out there? Was it during the week or on the weekends?
If he didn't go to work for some reason, and I'd find him out there, during the day, or sometimes on the weekend. Sure, he's on his computer back there, but most of the time it was for watching TV outside.
Did he work from home sometimes?
Yes.
How often did he work from home?
Not often.
Did you know in advance when he was working from home?
Most of the time, no.
And when he worked from home, did he work on the patio then?
Or inside.
Sometimes.
Yes, depending on how hot it was.
Now, when you were there that morning, was your housekeeper there, Delia?
I've been, I know that she's there from transcripts and things I've seen, but I don't remember her because I was sleeping.
Do you typically see Delia there?
Yes.
And she comes on Mondays? Every other Monday?
I don't know.
All right. So, does she come every other week, basically?
I didn't know.
Had your dad then been home for the past every other week on Mondays?
Not that I remember.
You don't remember? Were you home those days, or do you not remember?
No, I was probably out.
I'm sorry?
I was probably out.
Okay. So as far as the alarm system, you never hooked up, what about your alarm system in your house? Do you have an alarm system?
Yes.
After this murder happened, did you start setting the alarm system?
Yes.
Okay, did you tell the detectives back in June that you didn't even know how to set it and you didn't set it anymore?
I didn't know how to set it, but the people who, like my aunt and my grandmother who came, they would set the alarm.
When they were there?
Yes.
I guess my question is, when you were there with you, your mom, and your sister, did you tell the detectives then in June of 2014 that nobody sets the alarm?
Right.
Did you kind of get to the point where you, as your immediate family, you didn't set an alarm?
Correct.
Okay, is there a reason why?
No.
Had you been setting the alarm before this murder?
No.
Didn't your dad set it at night?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
All right. Now, what about being home alone? Did you have any concern about being home alone?
I didn't.
When you say that, did your sister express concern to you?
Yes.
And what was she telling you?
That she was scared to be home alone and she didn't want to be, so to have us come home.
Okay. And at this point now, after the murder, are you and your sister close? Right now, let's say that.
Today, yes.
Were you close back then?
It was a very rocky relationship after the murder
Why is that?
because there was a lot of family fighting, so it was just
Okay.
hard on her, hard on me.
And she was 16 and you were 18?
Yes.
Okay, so it strained your relationship a little bit?
Yes.
All right. So she was afraid to be at home, but you felt okay?
Yes.
All right. Did you tell the detectives also back in June of 14th that if one of us is here alone, like we just don't like to be here? I mean, is that fair? You didn't really like to be home alone?
Correct.
All right.
But
And
not
then-
because I'm scared, just because I don't want to be home alone.
Okay. And did you tell the detectives also that we go somewhere else and we often go and sleep at Deborah's house? Did that happen?
Not often. We did not sleep at our house often. So I don't remember if I said that or not.
All right. So, but there was a degree of you didn't want to be home alone for whatever
Correct.
reason might be. I'm going to ask you some questions then about Rob Baker. Now, there was a time before the murder, back in 2016, where you saw Rob in your house, right?
Yes.
How many times before the murder had you seen Rob in your house?
That was the only time before that I saw him in the house.
Okay. And can you tell us well, first of all, was there a time when you found him in your mom's bedroom in her bed?
Yes.
What time frame are we talking about, if you remember?
I don't remember the time frame, but I think I was already graduated from high school. I was going to class or I was going to work. So that around that time.
2016?
Yes.
Okay. So in 2016 then, one day, can you explain what you remember happening, how you found him?
Yes, I went to my mother's bathroom to take mascara or something because I like to do my mascara in her bathroom. And I didn't notice anything, but when I came out, I noticed Rob in her bed.
And what time was that?
It was in the morning, so I don't know, 10, 11 a.m., maybe
Tell-
earlier.
Did you tell the police about 7 a.m.?
Maybe. Sure, if I was working, then that's 7 a.m.
Okay. Not trying to trick you, I just want to...
No, I just don't remember.
Okay. 7 a.m. you went into your mom's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And I say that because at the time, did your dad sleep in the other room?
Yes.
All right. So you went into your mom's bedroom, and what did you see?
I went to the bathroom first, and then when I left the bathroom, I saw Rob in the bed.
And you recognized him?
Yes,
How did you know what he looked like?
because I went to LA Fitness, and I knew that he was the racquetball coach, whatever, there.
Had you seen your mom playing racquetball with him before that?
Sure, yes, amongst other people, though, too.
Who else?
Elise, Faye, but there was a whole tournament. There was a whole league there, so a bunch of people.
All right. So you recognized him as being in from the gym. And what did you do?
I didn't say anything. I just ran out of the room and I called my mom.
Okay, what did you say to your mom?
I asked, why is Rob in the bed?
And what did she tell you?
She told me that he doesn't drink often. They had a party last night. Her friend Sheila, I think, they all came over, and he doesn't drink often. He got drunk, and so he slept it off.
Well, did she tell you that he and Sheila spent the night?
Yes.
Did you see Sheila there?
No.
Did you see Sheila there the night before?
I wasn't there the night before.
Okay. So you didn't see her. You don't know.
Correct.
All right. So this is what your mom told you.
Yes.
But that morning you didn't see Sheila. You just saw Rob.
Yes.
All right. And how did you know Sheila? From the gym?
Yes.
All right. What happened then?
My mom told me, and I had no other reason to believe otherwise, so I believed her.
All right. Did you say anything to Rob?
No.
Did he say anything to you?
No.
Did you just leave the room then?
Yes.
Did you ever see him leave?
No, I was leaving the house, so I didn't see him.
So when you left, was he, to your knowledge, alone in the house?
Yes.
And your mom was dropping off your sister at school?
Yes.
So when you left then, did she tell you not to tell your dad?
No.
Now, you said you weren't home the night before, but didn't you tell the police in February of 21st of 2017 that you heard your mom come home at about 2:30 in the morning?
At that point, I was home, but I wasn't, like, home for their party or whatever.
Okay. So let's back up then. That night, the night before you found Rob in your mom's bed, you were home that night earlier, or you were home at some point that night?
Yes.
Did you ever see any of your mom's friends come over that night?
No, I was in my room.
Around 2 o'clock, did you hear your mom come home?
If I said so back then yes.
Well, do you want to look, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you want to look at a transcript to
Sure.
refresh your memory? All right, let me get that for you. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to show you Exhibit 129, which is up on the screen there. That's the monitor I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your kitchen, right?
Yes, that monitor was not always there, though. It was also at one point in the garage.
Okay. What point, if you remember, in your mind, was it in the garage?
When it first was put in. And then they eventually put it there.
So at the time of this incident, it was in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Clarifying that one. Just going back to a couple questions, and we'll go back. When you were went to the gym with your mom that morning, anything happened at the gym? Any injuries that you recall?
No.
Okay. Your mom leave with any kind of a bloody towel or anything like that?
No.
Okay. No conversation about that at all?
No.
Now, I asked you earlier also about when you got to the scene, when you went into the scene, and I'm backing up, I know, and we'll get back to what we were talking about. When you got to the scene, when you went inside and you saw your mom and sister, and I asked you, did you see any blood on either one of them? Do you recall seeing any blood on either one of them?
Today, I do not recall that.
Okay, if I showed you a transcript, would that possibly refresh your memory on that?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the transcript from January 23rd, 2016, page 11. 2017, I'm sorry. Page 11, lines 4 through 6. Okay. You can back up if you need to, just to get reference. Just read it to yourself.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with your sister. Did you see some blood on her?
On her shoes.
Okay, and then your mom?
On her hands.
Okay, so you saw, as you testified earlier, blood within the house.
Yes.
Did it look like it had been like tracked through also with footsteps?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I saw. It was footprints.
Footprints and then
And-
these two
yeah.
additional. All right, no problem. And then one other follow-up. When you talked about leaving the house, you said that you usually left, did you say through the front door?
Yes.
Now, did you tell the detectives in February that you usually left through the garage?
Well, before my dad had the Porsche, we would leave through the garage. Then when he got the Porsche, he wanted that door closed, so I would leave through the front door.
Okay, but during your interview in February 21 of 2017, they asked you then how you left, and you were talking about the Porsche, and at that point you said you still left through the garage.
This is of 2021?
Yes, do you
Correct.
recall that?
Yeah, we don't have the Porsche anymore, so yes, I would go out that door.
Okay.
Wait, I'm so sorry. 2021?
you had an interview with the detectives, no, on February 21, 2017. I said that
Oh,
on
yeah.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I got confused.
And during that time, they asked you, like, how do you normally leave the house? And you said through the garage.
Okay. I left both equally then.
Okay. Well, is it fair that you left through the garage most of the time? That's how I leave the house usually. Is that fair?
I don't remember.
Would looking at a transcript refresh your memory?
If I said it, then sure. I don't have to look at it. Thank you, though.
Would you like to just look at it?
Okay.
I'm not trying to put words. I just
No,
want
I
you to
know.
look at it.
I know. It's 8 years ago.
All right, February 21, 2017 transcript, and it's lines 12 through 20. Page 77.
Okay.
Okay. Is that fair then? At that time, you usually left in the garage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you also tell them that during that time when you're at the crime scene that, do you recall going and sitting in the garage?
That day?
Yes.
No.
Did you tell them you went and sat in the garage and you saw some blood where the Porsche had been?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right, going back to the night, rewinding now, in 2016, what we were talking about before lunch, when you found Rob in your mom's bed, where was your dad during that time?
I don't know. On a business trip or working?
Okay, did you tell the police that he was on a business trip?
I don't know.
Would you like to refresh your memory of the
Sure.
transcript? All right.
You just answered on this one.
Or working.
All right. And this is transcript from February 21st, 2017, page 81. And we have lines 15, sorry, not line 15. I'm just going to do this the harder part to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so the time that you found Rob in your mom's bed, your dad was on a business trip.
Yes.
Now, did you tell anyone about what you'd seen as far as Rob being in your mom's bed besides your mom?
My friends.
Okay, did you tell Deborah Obad?
I don't remember.
Obad, I'm saying it wrong.
I don't remember.
Did you tell your dad?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know. I probably forgot about it.
Did your mom tell you not to tell your dad?
Not that I remember.
So, as far as Rob Baker, then let's talk about what happened then after your dad was killed. Did you start seeing Rob Baker more frequently?
Yes.
And can you explain what kind of occurred after your dad was killed as far as Rob Baker being in the picture?
Yes. I went to a Denny's that was on Winnetka and Ventura with my sister and my cousin. And we asked for a table of 3 and we got sat down next to him, which I thought was a coincidence. And that same trip that my cousin was here, I got a flat tire and my sister was in the car behind me and we pulled into the median, and then I noticed, like, not even a minute or two later, I saw Rob's car, and Rob in his car passed by and he made a U-turn, and then he was going to help me with my car.
Okay. And you said, I thought that was weird. So
Yeah.
you thought these things were weird with Rob.
Yes.
Now, you didn't tell the police any of this, any issue about Rob, right? You never told them any of this.
Not argument.
Overruled.
I don't.
One moment. So, sorry, you never told the police any of this back then anything about this weirdness, Rob and Denny's and flat tire, you never told them any of that?
I-
They get to when you're on it.
It's overruled on that grounds, but you're not asking a question, counsel.
Did you ever tell them anything that you're saying in court right now to the police?
I don't know. In hindsight, after the fact, it was weird, but I don't know if in the moment I said anything.
Okay, so hindsight when you talked to the defense team?
No, hindsight, like after being talked to by the detectives and stuff, I was like, thinking that it's weird. I don't know if I said anything to the detectives because they might have not even asked me about it.
Okay. But you talked about Rob with the detectives.
Yes.
And in June 14th, you talked to the detectives a lot about Rob, in depth about how much you liked him, right?
Yeah, because I did like him at one point.
Okay, you called him a close family friend?
Yes.
You said you knew him really well? Right?
Yes.
Okay, you said he's been really nice to you since this happened?
Yes.
Okay. You also responded that he was a really good friend and he was your mom's racquetball coach, right?
Yes.
Did you tell him that he'd come over all the time? He'd come over for dinner and stuff?
I don't remember him coming over for dinner.
Would you like to look at a transcript to refresh your recollection? And the question actually is, did you tell the detectives that?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'll show you a transcript. And this is the June 14th, 2017 transcript, page 25.
Mm-hmm.
Does you remember your face?
Yes.
Okay. So did you just tell the detectives that you really liked him? He came over to dinner a lot?
He did not come over for dinner a lot. He did maybe come over once or twice. I remember a dinner when my dad was there, but that's the only one I can recall.
Well, we're talking about after the murder,
Yes.
okay? And that your mom played racquetball with him a lot,
Yes.
right? You told the detectives your mom had known him for over a year.
Yes.
And during that year, had you seen him only at the gym and that one time in your mom's bed?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell the detectives that Rob comes over a lot now, meaning this is post murder, this is June 2017?
I don't remember.
Would you like to look at the transcript again?
Sure.
All right. Same date, page 27, June 14th. Does that refresh your memory?
I mean, yeah, I just read this one. Yeah.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you tell the detectives that he came over a lot?
Yes.
Okay. So you liked him.
Yes.
And do you tell the detectives that he fixed your car for you?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, my car broke down. I don't know what the issue was, and he said he had a good mechanic, so he took it to his mechanic.
And did he come and pick you up and take you anywhere, anything like that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did he bring over cars to show you?
He had a cool car. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that was his car, so he just showed me because I like cars, and at that time I really liked cars.
Did he show you? Did you tell the detectives that he had like 4 of them and he'd bring them over to you?
Yes.
Okay. And what were those 4? What did he do?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Your Honor, I have a recording and a company transcript. Do you know when you talk to the detectives that your interview, and just this portion, that your interview with the detectives was recorded?
No, I never knew any of my interviews ever were recorded.
Okay. If I may mark as People's 230, it's a short.
This is a
Okay. All right. Back to, you didn't know you're being recorded?
Right.
Okay, they didn't tell you you're being recorded. Have you listened to any of those recordings?
No.
Now, did you also tell the detectives that he comes a lot and just wants to make sure we're safe and stuff?
Yes.
The day of June 14th, you remember that day?
No.
What was that the day your mom was arrested?
Oh, then yes.
2017.
Yeah.
That day then, had your mom been on a trip before that?
I think so.
To Toronto? Or
Yes.
New York to
Yeah,
Toronto?
yeah.
When she got home then, was there something going on where Rob had her car?
Not that I recall.
You want to look at a transcript?
Sure.
Okay. I know it's been a long time. You haven't had a chance to review this, right?
No, I have. A few. I have.
You have reviewed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only once though. I don't like reading it.
Okay, that's fine. And it's again June 14th, 2017, page 30. And we can start page 8 just to refresh your memory.
Okay. Do you want me to?
Is that, no, it's okay. I think this was the next. We went into this page. Is that enough? Okay. All right. That day then, did your memory refresh? Did Rob have your mom's car?
Yes.
Okay. And why did he have her car? Do you know?
I think he was taking it also to the mechanic.
Okay, so he helped you out with getting the car fixed and things of that nature?
Yes.
And then the detectives asked you for Rob's cell phone, right? Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you had his cell phone number in your phone?
I don't remember. I think I did.
You know, I'm going to come back right now. All right. Would refreshing your memory help?
Yes, he had my number.
All right. But you don't remember what that number is?
Yeah,
At the top of your
I
head.
don't know his number.
All right. If I could approach. And this is page 32, June 14th.
Okay.
All right. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
His number that you gave the police, 213-272-1093. That's the number you have for Rob as of June 14th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
All right. Did you communicate with Rob then yourself? Like, did you text him or call him or anything of that nature?
Not really, but maybe sometimes, like, hey, I'm coming to the gym today. Can you save me this workout machine? If I texted him.
So during that time frame then, you talked about hindsight, but during this whole time frame of from when your dad, well, let's talk about back in 2016 until after your mom was arrested, you didn't have any problem with Rob Baker. You liked him.
Yes.
And you considered him a close family friend.
Yes.
And then at some point you changed your mind.
Yes.
And that's after you met with the defense attorneys, correct?
No, that was the day my mom was arrested.
Okay, well this is, on the day that you're arrested is the day that you're talking to the police.
But I don't know if she's arrested at that point.
Okay. You knew she was arrested the next day.
No, that later at that transcript, they say that they tell me that she's arrested. I had no idea for an hour.
And let's go through that. So on the day of your mom's arrest, the police came over to your house, right?
Yes.
And then what did they tell you they were there for?
Just to look at the, like, take more stuff for the knock-knock burglar thing they were telling me about. So looking through the house again and taking some of our electronics and stuff.
So did they recover then or take some of your computers?
Yes.
Well, maybe yours and your
Yes.
mom's computers, phones, things of that nature?
Yes.
Or electronics? Okay, and then at some point during that interview, they ultimately ended up telling you that your mom was arrested. Is that right?
Yes.
Did they also tell you Rob was arrested?
Yes.
All right. And then who came, was anyone with you then for support after this happened?
Yes, I called Deb to come over.
All right.
And then the next day my aunt and my grandmother came.
So Deborah Obad came over.
Yes.
And then your aunt, what's her name?
Anna.
And is that your mom's sister?
My mom's older sister.
And then who else came?
My grandmother.
And they flew in from
Toronto.
Toronto. Okay. And then they stayed with you.
Yes.
Now, did you get then, so you've been interviewed now, you've been interviewed the day it happened on January 23rd, 2017, and then they interviewed you again, which you've refreshed your memory, February, remember that? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
For her. And then in June, we just went through this interview, and some of it centered on Rob Baker, correct?
Yes.
But at this point, you didn't know that he'd been arrested.
Correct.
And then they told you after this interview. Is that right?
After the interview, yes.
About when you talked about Rob and how much you liked
Right after
him,
that.
you didn't know he was arrested yet.
Correct.
And then you found out he was arrested.
Correct.
And then you found out your mom was arrested.
Yes.
Is that right? And the police called you the next day. Do you remember that phone call?
No.
Would you like to look at a transcript? Just it's very short, just
Yes.
to refresh your memory. And this is the June 15th, 2017 transcript. You can just kind of look at the first couple pages. Does that refresh your memory
Yes.
then? Okay, and why did the detectives, what did they ask you the day after the murder?
Objection, that's irrelevant.
I'm sorry, not the day after the murder.
Total.
The day after the arrest, on June 15th, what did they call and ask you questions about?
About what I did that day.
The day of the murder?
Yeah.
And they asked you if you or your mom played racquetball, and like you
Yes.
testified, you said no.
Yes.
Is that right? And they asked if anything unusual happened that morning, you said no.
Right.
And they also asked you if Rob was at the gym that you saw him that morning, you said no, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Total.
Now, after this, you found out that your mom and Rob were both arrested. And after this phone call with the police, when you interviewed them, did you ever do an interview with the police again?
I don't remember. Not that I remember.
Okay. But you did interview multiple times with the defense attorneys, right?
With their private investigator.
and some of the attorneys, right?
Correct.
Okay. So on August 29th, 2.5 months after your mother's arrest, you went to the law offices of the defense attorneys and you interviewed with their private investigator?
Yes.
And that was Adam Dawson?
Yes.
So they asked you a lot of questions?
Yes.
And then on October 15 of 2021, you went there again, right, to their office?
Yes.
And you interviewed with Mr. Levine, who's in court, and his investigator, correct?
Yes.
And they asked you questions again about those days.
Yes.
And then in January 6th of 2022, you went to the law offices again and interviewed with Mr. Levine and Mr. Babbage and their investigator, right?
Yes.
And you answered, again, questions that they asked you.
Yes.
Do you know if that interview was recorded?
No.
You don't know, or it was not?
I didn't know.
Did you ever see a transcript of that interview provided to you?
Not a transcript, but like a typed up thing.
A typed up report?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear an audio of your interview?
No.
And during, did you ever interview with them again at any other time?
I've met with Mr. Levine many times, you know, for updates on the case, to speak with Adam. But yeah.
And you said you met with him many times. Where did you meet?
At his office, or he would come to our house.
Okay, so both places?
Yeah.
And that was over the course of
8 years.
8 years you've met with him many times?
Yes.
Just to go over the case and what happened?
Yes.
And then you said Adam. Who is Adam?
Dawson.
Okay. Is that the private investigator that works for the firm?
Yes.
For Mr. Levine?
Yes.
And then each time you meet with them, do they ask you questions about the case and go back through the facts?
Yes, and you know, me asking questions about the case.
Okay. And you provide them any information you remember?
Yeah.
Do you know if any of those conversations ever were recorded?
Not to my knowledge.
And you were never provided any, other than these 3 reports, were you ever
Correct.
provided any more than 3 reports to review over all those many conversations?
No, just those 3.
Okay. One moment. One thing I meant to ask you, after all this happened, you said you stayed at Deborah Obad's for a while, or a couple days, I think you said. Then where did you live?
We went back to the house.
Okay. So you were back in the house with your sister, Isabella?
Yes.
And now, after your mom got arrested, where did you live?
At the house.
And who stayed there with you?
My aunt and my grandmother.
And that's Anna, again, your mom's
Yes.
sister?
Yes.
And how long did they stay with you?
They stayed with us on and off for like 3 years.
I mean, you're over 18, so you were fine in the house?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, you sold the house and you moved out, correct?
Correct.
Not you, but the house was sold.
Yes. Correct.
You and your sister moved out. Is that right?
Yes.
And that was in 2000, was it 17?
18.
18. And where did you move?
To the Avalon Apartments in Woodland Hills.
And was those apartments the ones owned by Deborah Obad?
She doesn't own apartments.
Did she ever rent you apartments or a place to stay?
Yes, I just moved out of that house.
Okay. So how long did you live in Deborah's rental?
I think 3 years.
All right. So do you remain good friends with Deborah Obad?
Yes.
Right. She's been a good family friend to you
Yes.
and your sister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Tough topic, but up until your mom's arrest, tough topic, did you ever know that she was having an affair with Robert Baker?
No, not until her arrest.
When she went to Vegas, Myrtle Beach, those places, did you know that she was going with a male or a boyfriend or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay. I'm going to go through, if I may mark. A series of text messages. And it is 18 pages. I'm not going to do every single page. 18 pages. It's text messages between Gessica and the defendant.
Maybe 2:30.
Oh, 2:30. All right, I'm just going to go through a few of these. Putting on page 1. All right. First of all, let's talk about. I'll get it clear. Okay. February 8th, 2017, we're starting from the time frame. Did you text message your mom basically at the number associated here, your mom's number, 818-424-4213, and your number being 818?
Yes.
Okay, and is it fair that you had text messages spanning with your mom between June 9th of 2017 through February 8th of 2017?
Yes.
And that's going to be texted on? All right. This text up here, starting with June 8th, 2017, this is 2 weeks after this happened. Your mom's telling you under no circumstances answer the phone, or if anyone texts asking if we're okay, you say I'm asleep. Nobody. Okay, got it. I'm sorry, is this upsetting you? I'm sorry.
No.
I know. We'll go through this.
I was
I'll go
waiting
through
for the
this.
question.
I'll go through this. Okay.
Objection, Your Honor. The comments are inappropriate.
It is.
I'm sorry. I apologize. This message, was your mom telling you not to talk to people?
Not to tell anyone our business, essentially.
Okay. Anything more that she was telling you about?
No.
Did she, well, let me move on. Okay. So now we're going through the text, page 2, and I'm not going to go through them all, but page 2. Is there many times, is it fair to say during that time frame between June 9th of 2017 and February 8th of 2017, I'm sorry. February 9th of 2017 and June 9th of 2017, I keep misspeaking, that you were often texting your mom asking where she was late at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you concerned about your mom, or were you concerned about you?
Concerned about my mom.
All right. Was that unusual from what happened before the murder for your mom being out late at night like that?
Yes, but I believe that was how she was grieving, because I was out every night as well.
Okay. Your sister? No. Right? Page 2 up on the screen. Your mom texted, if anyone calls or texts, don't say you're the friend there. Either don't answer or say you're just hanging out. Nobody's business. I'll move up a little bit. And was this along the lines of what you testified to? This is February 19th, like don't tell anyone anything?
Yes, because everyone's calling us every day, asking questions, wanting to know things.
And what kind of questions were you told not to answer?
Nothing, just what it says here.
Okay. But what were you told not to talk about or not to answer by your mom?
About what
Objection
the
asked and answered.
about like what the detectives are asking or saying and stuff, because everyone keeps bothering us when we're grieving, and so my mom's telling us not to talk to anyone.
All right. And then starting in February 20th of 2017, we're about 3 weeks or 4 weeks after your dad's murder. There's some text messages about when are you coming home, right? Mm-hmm. And your mom answered, and this is about a little bit after midnight, answers late.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
yes,
a yes?
Yes.
And then again the following night, and this is the back of page 2, when are you coming home? And your mom answers, you, my mother.
Yeah.
Right? And then she tells you she's at a comedy club, and you say, no, I'm a concerned daughter.
Yeah.
What were you worried about?
That's just making sure she was okay.
And then the back of page 4. Again, we moved to February 25th, a few days later. Again at night, around 11:18 at night, you asked your mom, when are you going to be home? Late, and you're asking her, and she says, yes. Be smart, close gates.
Yes.
Is it fair to say she was going out pretty often?
Yes.
Back of page 5. Again, now we move to March 4th. You're asking her again, are you going to be home late? And she's responding, you, my mother.
Yes.
Now, were you and your mom getting along at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're literally joking there.
All right. And page 6, you said, I just want to know. And your mom wrote late with exclamation points. Right?
Yes.
All right. And then we went through some texts with your sister, but on March 5th, 2017, you're texting your mom again at 10:30 at night. And are you talking about Isabella being scared and mad?
Yes.
All right. How are you handling Isabella at that point?
I felt as being like the mediator between my mother and my sister.
Were they not getting along?
They were getting along, but Isabella's at that age was very sensitive, and everything we were doing she had something to say about, so I was trying to mediate between both of them. So don't worry about Bella saying that to Mom.
Well, you said that Bella was scared to be in the house.
Yeah.
Did you ever tell your mom, like, hey, stay home with her?
Yeah.
And what'd your mom say?
She'd stay home.
Okay, but she went out a lot too.
Yes.
Okay. Back of page 7. Again, now we've moved to March 18th, 2017. Are you going to be home late or like kind of late? And your mom says, don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yep.
So it's fair that you didn't always know where your mom was.
Correct.
And then March 30th, a few days later, again, when are you coming home? And your mom responds, why, you a cop?
Yes.
So is it fair that most of the time you didn't know where your mom was?
Correct.
Then on March 31st, there's a text message again. You're asking your mom where she is. And she says, too many teenagers here. I'm asleep at Sheila's. She lives here in Woodland Hills. I'm already in my PJs, gonna leave soon. What time you done? Do you know if your mom slept at Sheila's?
I don't know.
Did she come home that night? Do you remember?
No.
And then again in March or April 21.
No, this is cumulative.
I love this.
April 21, 2017, you're asking your mom, where are you? And this is, again, 7:15 at night, and she says, Melrose, gonna have dinner, then karaoke. Is that something that you knew your mom would do, karaoke?
No.
Did she tell you she was going to karaoke a lot?
Yes, as we just saw right there.
All right, and then it follows into the next page when your mom asks you why, and you said, I'm just asking you, the police.
Yes.
Okay, and this is again March 25th, 2017. Same reasoning, you're just asking because you're worried about your mom?
Yeah. Wondering where she is.
Your Honor, that's April, not March.
April 25th, 2017. And then she says, no, I'm the mother, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Were you frustrated with your mom at all for not being home?
No.
And then on May 3rd, 2017, do you remember her sending you a photo and she said belly dancing?
No. I see it here, but I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I know,
picture
it's a hard
is.
picture to see. Do you remember her being in Las Vegas, going to Las Vegas in May?
Yes.
Did she tell you about a party she went to where there was belly dancing, it was someone's birthday?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you know whose birthday it was?
No.
Did you know her to be with Rob Baker at that time?
No.
And then again, it continues back into page 15. We're in May 5th, June 3rd of 2017. It continues, are you coming home? And this is around 2 in the morning. And she said, on my way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I know, we're going through a lot. I'm almost done. And basically, those series of texts were somewhat frequent.
Yeah.
All right. Leading up to the right before the arrest, there's a conversation that you have about your car, right? Where's your car? This is June 9th of 2017. Is that right?
Yes.
Is this when your mom went to Toronto then and you were home?
I don't remember.
Well, she had flown to Toronto, correct, for
Yes.
a ward,
Yes.
and then she came back right before she was arrested, right?
Yes.
So when she left, her car wasn't at your house?
I guess not.
And did she tell you, is that what you asked her, does Rob have it?
Yes.
And she says, yes, it's at the shop.
Yes.
I told you, and then I'm on a flight, or I'm in flight, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is that when Rob was taking care of her car at the mechanic shop?
Yes.
Okay. 1 second.
Thank you very much. Hello, Jessica.
Hey.
Jessica, in reality, you kind of grew up with me, didn't you?
Yes.
I became your mom's attorney shortly after her arrest in 2017, right?
Yes.
And we are now in 2025.
Yes.
Okay. You've done a lot of things since then, haven't you?
Yeah.
How are you doing now?
I'm doing great now.
And what are you doing?
I have a great job. I live with my boyfriend. I have amazing friends.
Hold on a second.
It's
So you're doing a lot better than you were back in 2017 when your dad died.
yes.
Let's get one thing straight. What have I told you about testifying in court?
To tell the truth.
Have I ever told you to lie?
No.
Have I or Mr. Dawson or any of the defense team ever told you what to say?
Never.
So over those 8 years, on 3 occasions, we sat down and asked you if you could remember what happened regarding the murder of your father.
Yes.
Correct? And the first date was shortly after the arrest and prosecution began, right?
Correct.
And then the case started lasting far longer than anybody thought,
Correct.
with COVID in the middle.
Yes.
So after a year or two, we came back and asked you if you remembered anything differently than you stated before, or if you still remembered what was there, and you remembered some new things and other things you did not, correct? Did you always answer truthfully?
Yes.
Did we always show you the report that Mr. Dawson prepared and asked you if it was accurate and correct?
Yes.
And was it?
Yes.
And if it wasn't, did you tell us to change it?
Yes.
And you've testified here today to a lot of things you said happened and a lot of things you said did not happen, correct?
Correct.
Have you done your best to tell the truth about everything?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before January 23rd, 2017, before your father's murder, can you describe how your father and mother, how the marriage was?
I tell this to everyone. My mother and father were the epitome of what a loving marriage was, and what I strive to look for in a partner. And they're the best parents.
And husband and wife?
Yes.
Did you ever notice anything that caused you to believe that either one of them wasn't in love with the other one?
Never.
And how were they as parents?
They were great parents, both of them.
Specifically Monica, how was she?
Mom was an amazing parent. Dad was away a lot, so Mom was the one who was always there for us, taking us places, helping us with homework, there for us emotionally more than my dad was. I love my dad, but he was gone all the time.
Okay. Now, I take it you had no idea until June 14, 2017, that your mom was having an affair with Robert Baker. Is that
Correct.
right? Up until then, you thought he was just someone she played racquetball with and had become kind of a friend, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, he was around you a lot, you realize now.
Yes.
He showed up at a lunch one time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Took care of your car and your mom's car a couple of times.
Yes.
Did he appear to have some knowledge about cars
Yes.
and some mechanics that he worked with?
Yes.
At that time, did you think anything suspicious about your mom's relationship with him?
No.
When she said she was going to trips to Las Vegas or Myrtle Beach, I assume she didn't say she was going with Robert Baker.
Correct.
You thought she was going with friends of hers.
Correct.
Now let's talk about interviews with the police, first of all. Between the time of your father's death and your mom's arrest, there was a period of about 4 months, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall how many times the police came out and interviewed you or your mom?
A few times. I don't know the exact number.
Right? And were there times when they called and spoke to you?
Yes.
And at any of those times, did you refuse to answer their questions?
Never.
Did you always meet with them when they said to meet with you?
Yes.
Cooperate with them when they said, asked you questions about that?
Yes.
Was there some concern that your mom expressed about the pace of the investigation and why they couldn't solve it?
Yes.
Can you describe that?
We all were feeling that way. It wasn't just Mom, but we were all feeling, where are the answers? How?
That's what we were all feeling. Sustained.
Objection, hearsay.
It's overruled.
Let's start with you. How are you feeling
No.
about the delay in finding out who did this?
Sustained.
Did your mom express concern or frustration with the pace of the investigation?
Yes.
Did she ever talk to you about insurance?
No.
Did she ever express to you concern about insurance?
No.
In fact, you were one of the main beneficiaries, right?
Correct.
And when did you eventually get your share of the life insurance proceeds?
After my mother was arrested.
And what did you use it for?
To pay rent and bills.
Let me bring you back to the date of your mom's arrest. Before I do that, we were talking about the relationship between your mom and dad and the relationship you all had together. Did you give us a couple of photographs portraying the type of relationship your mom and dad had?
Yes.
Can we show those, please, Your Honor?
How many are we talking about?
Your Honor,
Two.
two short videos.
Let me see so far.
Your Honor, I think that we broke, we asked permission to show two videos to the witness and the jury, if we could do so.
Use that as mark first.
Yes, that's a good idea. What's our next one?
Your next is 620. And these are via what?
Via CDs, Your Honor. Two separate CDs. Mark, the first video is 620 and then the second video is 621.
No, both be 620, A and B.
Understood. Thank you.
Jessica, can you see this first video?
Yes.
Can you put it in context, where and when that was taken?
Yeah, we're in the kitchen. My grandmother's visiting this trip. This is December 3rd,
What year?
2016.
May we play it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the second video, Your Honor, may that be marked? Has that been marked already? Could you identify first what this is, Jessica, if you know, and when it was taken?
Yeah, this is my mom and dad dancing in the kitchen, and I'm not sure if this is also December 6th or 3rd, or if this is in October.
It was 2016.
16.
May we play it?
Please.
Thank you. Jessica, was this commonplace among your dad and mom in the years leading up to his murder?
Yes.
And is this what you meant when you characterized it as a marriage you thought was perfect?
Yes.
You eventually obviously learned it was not
Correct.
on your mother's side.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But first I want to go to this last interview of yours. You cooperated every time with the police, did you not?
Yes.
And in fact, this last interview, some of the pages of which were used to refresh your memory, took place on June 14th, 2017
Correct.
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Correct?
Correct.
And it took place where, if you know?
At my home, the Queen Victoria house.
Okay, and
the kitchen.
present was Detective Chuck Knowles, Knolls, and a Detective Sanchez and a Detective King, along with you and Deborah Obad and Anna Larson, correct?
Anna Larson wasn't there. It was on the phone, but yes, correct.
Okay. And the purpose of this interview was what? What were you told?
And they had called, I was at school originally, and they had called me to ask me more questions about the day of the murder. And so I went home and they were already in my house, which I thought was weird. I didn't know they were at my house. And there was detectives all over the place, all over the house, and we were at the kitchen table.
Okay. But initially, they did not tell you anything about your mom or Mr.
No.
Baker being arrested, did they?
No, not at all.
In fact, for the majority of this interview, which covered 98 pages, they continued to ask you questions about the murder, correct?
Correct.
Where you were, right?
Yes.
What you remember about Baker,
Yes.
about Baker and his cars,
Yes.
about going to racquetball.
Yes.
So, questions similar on the same topic that you had been questioned numerous times before by the LAPD, correct?
Yes, correct.
And all this time, you found out they knew that your mother had been arrested.
Correct. They were lying to me.
And you even asked, as you were during the interview, what's going on? How's the investigation going? Remember that?
Yes.
And you recall one of the officers saying, yeah, it's just that they're looking for more leads. So you and your sister and your mom here, they're just looking for some more leads. The same thing they've been telling you for 4 months, correct?
Correct.
And then they continued to ask you questions, correct?
Correct.
And then do you remember how it was finally at the end of the 90 pages or so, they told you about your mother?
Yes.
How?
They just flat out said it. They said, your mother is arrested. And
And your response was, oh my God, oh my God.
yeah.
Okay. And following that, without going through it all, the rest had to do with where you were going to go, who was going to care for you and your sister, and all sorts of things that would obviously occur with your mom now in jail.
Correct.
So as we said, your mom was arrested and taken to court. Remember that?
Yes.
And then I was retained to represent her, correct?
Correct.
So in terms of contacting me or my office, weren't you contacting for the most part to find out what was going on with the
Yes.
case?
Yes.
When we were going to court,
Correct.
when the trial would be,
Yes.
how your mom was doing,
Correct.
all sorts of questions that had nothing to do with the facts of the case.
Correct.
Is it fair to say that the vast number of contacts during those 8 years was either how you were doing or how your mom was doing or scheduled?
Correct.
And you realize now, as the jury has found out, that the trial was continued numerous times, and we are now 8 years since the time of your mother's arrest.
Correct.
We're finally in trial. Is that right?
Yes.
During any of those times when you were interviewed about the facts of the case, did you ever lie or make something up?
Never.
And have you told the truth here today?
Yes.
Now, after the murder and before the arrest, what was the relationship like between you and Fabio's family?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
After your dad was murdered and before your mom was arrested, what was your relationship and that of your sister and your mom with Fabio's family?
Objection, speculation, and all this.
It's been brought out in the people's case in chief. It's overruled.
This is before the arrest, but after the death, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. The relationship was as it always had been, a normal family. They came over to California for the funerals, and when we would go there,
They supported you?
yes, yeah,
Appeared to do whatever they could to help you and your mom get along and recover. Is that correct?
correct.
By the way, can you describe what your mother's demeanor was the night of the murder when you first came home and saw her?
Yeah, when I first came home, she was in shock. She's crying, she's screaming, she has tears, she's talking nonsense. She was in a whole other state of mind. And in the ensuing days, she's sad and carrying his sweater, and and crying.
Did she keep the sweater on the whole night?
She kept that sweater for like weeks.
And she even wanted to sleep in their bed that night, correct?
Yeah,
But you were not allowed to do so?
correct.
What about your sister, Bella, who had discovered the body? What was she like?
She was in shock that day, and she never speaks about it.
And did this last a while, your mom's condition after the death of your father?
Yeah.
Did she ever appear to you to fully recover?
No.
Okay. Now, you had no idea that your mom and Mr. Baker were having an affair, is that correct?
Correct.
But you did know she was going out and so forth, right?
Correct.
And what was your attitude again about her going out after your father's death?
I just thought that was how she was grieving because I was doing the same thing.
You were going out as well?
Yes.
Not to show any disrespect for your father.
No.
And did Bella react differently?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Yes, she didn't want to be home alone. But we were out, so she would get mad at us. And now when I'm older, I was very, very rude to her at that. But I was 18, and I didn't want to be home. I wanted to be with my friends. And
was she going out as well?
here and there she would, yeah. But most of the time she stayed home.
Okay, so you were shown a series of text messages today. Obviously, they accurately reflect the exchanges between you and your mom,
Yes.
and some involving Bella.
Yes.
Can you tell us what your attitude was at that time?
I was just trying to keep the peace between everybody.
Meaning you, Bella, and your mom?
Yeah.
And how were you trying to do that?
By making my sister feel heard in certain circumstances, or making my mom feel heard.
Guilty?
Huh?
Feel guilty?
No, feel heard.
Oh, okay. I mean, guilty for what they going out and not being
Right.
home and so forth?
Right.
Yes. And how was Bella taking that?
She was upset.
And you were trying to be the middleman, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, so let me interrupt this time. Take our lunch recess until 1:30. The admin replies, don't discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else at home. Discuss any opinions of the cause. It's when I submit it to you. Good morning. Ms. Sementilli, you are still under oath. Next, may continue with the cross-examination.
Very much, Your Honor. Good morning, Jessica.
Morning.
I believe when we broke on Friday, we talked a little bit about the relationship between your father and your mother. And you described it, I think, as good as you had ever been hopeful, something like that.
Yes, correct.
Was that the case even when you were getting those text messages from Bella and your mom and yourself when she would go out after your father had died?
Yes.
And you explained, I think, what your feeling was about that?
Yes.
Clear that up with Bella?
Yes.
And you were on your terms with your mother?
Yes.
Did there an issue come up, Jessica, involving the cars in terms of how Monica and the family would deal with the car situation once Fabio was dead?
Yes.
Well, the car that she had been driving was before the 150 black truck, is that correct?
Correct.
And did she try to continue on with that lease?
Yes.
Was she unable to do so because it was not in her name but in Fabio's name?
Correct.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, she would have had to buy the truck back at a very high price, is that correct?
Objection, speculation.
How long?
To my knowledge, yes.
So do you recall what she had decided to do regarding the truck?
No, she just came home with the Mustang.
And told you what about it?
That
Objection, hearsay.
Same.
Well, they've got into all of Ms. Sementilli's comments about the truck to others.
Okay, this is under 356. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so as a result, and you're right, we've had a lot of testimony from car dealers and so forth. Ended up, she wasn't able to keep the truck, correct?
Correct.
And in place of that, she bought the Mustang, correct?
Correct.
Now, who was driving the family cars at that time? What were you driving?
I was driving the red Mustang, my mother the F-150, then the other Mustang. Isabella was driving the Fiat.
And what about the Porsche? Did anyone want to keep the Porsche after it had been the scene of the murder?
No, because it was sticks, so none of us could drive it.
So was that sold back to the dealership? Or
I-
turned in?
I'm not sure what happened.
But it was turned in?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't know when it was turned in, whether there was a lease payment or any other payment due because it was turned in?
Correct.
Now, the Mustang you were driving, so it's clear, what year-old Mustang was that?
2007.
So, and this one was 10 years old, is that correct?
Correct.
So you got the worst car of the fleet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did something happen after that to the Fiat that Bella was driving?
Yes, there was an accident.
Was Bella?
Correct.
She was okay?
No, the airbag hurt her arm. She was in a sling for a little bit.
Approximately how long did that occur after your father's death?
Not very long after, a few months.
And what happened to the vehicle, the Fiat?
It was totaled, and insurance, I believe, paid for, or helped pay for another one.
Okay. So now she was driving a newer Fiat, is that correct?
Same model.
Same model. Okay. And that was the result of the insurance company having covered the vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And again, during this time period, before the arrest of your mother, the family, that is Fabio's family, was being very helpful and consoling you and your sister and your mom throughout this. Is that correct?
Before the arrest, yes.
And did Morella ever come out and speak over after your father was killed?
Yeah, we had the whole family came, and everyone was staying with us.
How long were they staying with you?
I'm not sure. I know Morella did come a separate time, just her.
And again, to help and do whatever assistance they could do to deal with this.
Correct.
At some time, when they were there, and the rest of the family at times was there as well, Luigi and others, correct?
Correct.
There were other cousins you had, children, prior children of Fabio. Can you describe who was there for the family?
Luigi, my cousins Vanessa, Daniel, Anthony, Morella,
Who were those three? Angel, you said?
and Anthony, Daniel. They're the children of Loredana, and Vanessa is the child of Morella.
Okay, so these were Fabio's first marriage and other relatives?
The ones I just mentioned are Fabio's nieces and nephews. Luigi's the only child of Fabio's prior marriage.
Very well. And at some time, did you see your mother up in the closet or the bedroom area where Fabio slept and she and Fabio lived, and let those cousins and so forth have a choice if they wanted to keep any of Fabio's clothes as a memento to them or as a reminder of them? Can you tell us how that worked?
Yes, we were all standing in the hallway of the bedrooms, and everyone was going through my dad's drawers and taking things like sweaters and shirts to give away to them for memories.
There were no tools up there, were there?
No, the tools were in the garage.
And what about, were you aware that your father owned a Rolex watch
Yes,
that was not taken in the robbery and murder?
correct.
And who got that?
Luigi.
Did he request that?
I'm not sure.
But was it given to him?
Yes,
And did he, for any reason, not want to have it?
not to my knowledge.
He was happy that he was getting it as a memento from his father. Isn't that a fair statement?
Yes, I believe so.
Let's turn now, if we could, Jessica, to the issue of the burial of your father. Came up in some of the testimony we've had previous. Was there a decision that had to be made as to whether your father would be cremated or not?
Yes.
Objection. We discussed this.
Let me see the count. Go ahead.
Thank you. Jessica, was there a time when a decision had to be made on whether Fabio was going to be cremated or not?
Yes.
Do you recall how that decision was made?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Yes, it was a conversation between myself, my mother, my sister, and my brother. Luigi, correct.
And was that because it was alone? How did it become that you were the ones who were making that decision?
I don't believe there was an issue that arose. It was just, talking to each other and seeing what we agreed on, if we wanted him buried or cremated, and we decided on cremation.
And was there a specific reason you recall?
Yes, because my dad always would mention, when I'm gone one day, I don't want to rot in the ground. When I'm gone one day, I don't want to be buried with my hands across my chest. And he would say these in passing.
So was your belief, speaking of yourself, that he preferred to be cremated rather than buried without being cremated?
Objection, notice.
Yes.
And was that agreed upon by the four of you?
Yes.
And in fact, was Fabio cremated?
Yes.
And his remains were, however, taken back to Canada, is that correct?
Yes, he remains in Canada.
And where are his remains now?
In the cemetery in Ontario, I'm not sure what it's called.
And is it a place where you can go and visit and honor him, is that correct?
Correct.
There's been some conversation about the song My Way. Did you know whether or not your father liked that song or not?
Yes, it's one of his favorite songs.
How did you know that?
Because he had albums of Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Elvis Presley, and every time we did karaoke in the backyard, my dad sang My Way.
As a result of that, do you recall your mother ever singing that song or portions of it at one of the events that took place following Fabio's death?
Yes.
Do you recall which occasions that was?
Yes, it was a Lifetime Achievement celebration
Where was that?
in Toronto, I believe.
Were you there?
No.
How did you become aware of that performance?
My family sent me videos of it.
And at that performance, did your mother sing My Way?
Yes.
And was Morella there?
Yes.
And how was she reacting, if you saw in the video, to the singing of My Way?
She's smiling and crying in happiness, happy tears.
In fact,
Objection, speculation.
Happy tears would be stricken.
she was seen clapping and smiling.
Yes.
Everyone up on the stage was clapping and smiling.
Yes.
Did you ever hear any criticism by anyone of Fabio's family or anyone else to your mom singing My Way at that time?
No.
Did she sing it on one other occasion here or locally in California?
Not to my knowledge that I can remember right now.
Your mom had a sweatshirt that belonged to Fabio, is that correct?
Correct.
For how long did she wear that sweatshirt after he died?
Months. She carried that around with her everywhere.
Is it fair to say then that up to a certain point, the family, your family, Fabio's family, were all grieving together over the loss of your father?
Yes.
Was there some time when that changed?
Yes.
What happened?
The day my mother was arrested, in the leading days after that, there was lots of fights and arguments.
You know what they're about?
Well, one of them was about my father's property at his office and them wanting it, but it wasn't my decision to make, and it became a huge fight.
Who wanted it?
Morella.
Go on.
It became a huge fight, and tensions arose between all of us, and I understood their anger, not their actions, and that's why we stopped talking.
Anything else?
Yes.
What?
Morella called me a bitch and a cunt.
What did you say to her? She asked you any questions about your father and his death?
Sorry.
Did she ask you any questions how you felt about your father's death?
Yes, it seemed that she insinuated I was not as hurt as she was about my father's death.
Did she ask you how you felt about your mother being arrested?
No, never.
Did you tell them whether or not you believed your mother was innocent or not?
Yes,
What did you tell them?
that I believe she's innocent.
And how did that react to the family?
I don't know how they all reacted, but Morella was irate with anger.
Because you stood by your mother.
Yes.
How did that play out?
We went to we talked to them.
Is that still to this day?
Yes.
And that's the opposite of how it was.
We do.
Have you reached out in any way to try to heal some of those wounds?
To my brother.
And what did he say?
Yes.
So you and your brother now are on speaking terms?
Yes.
And what about Morella and the rest of the family?
Objection, relevance.
No.
Go ahead, 1 minute, John. I know this has been difficult for you. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Your direction.
Yes. So, Jessica, as the defense has been asking you questions, you've been talking to them now for 7, 8 years, right?
Correct.
Did you talk to them after you testified?
Yesterday?
When you testified on Friday?
Oh, sorry. No.
After court, on the weekend, you never had any conversation with them?
After court, we talked about my phone number being leaked, but that was it.
Okay. So some of these things that you're bringing up, though, you've never told the police any of this. And first about, in fact, you've never stated that anywhere about the cremation that you just testified to, right?
Correct.
So you knew that that was part of some testimony that came out during this trial that your dad had not indicated he wanted to be cremated.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So did you know that your dad, through the trial, it came out in testimony that your dad had indicated he did not want to be cremated?
No, I did not know that.
All right, so that topic then, when was the first time you told anyone this story about your dad and sitting with family members wanting to be cremated?
Years ago, when we retained Leonard, when they were first asking us questions.
So you reviewed the reports that they gave you, but it's nowhere in there?
No, I don't know.
Would you like to see their reports?
Sure.
And do you know which time that was? Because you interviewed with them on August 29th, 2017. You interviewed with them October 15th, 2021, and you interviewed with them January 6th, 2022. Mm-hmm. Do you know which one?
No.
Okay. I'll let you take a look at those then. That refresh your recollection?
Yes.
So it's nowhere in these reports?
Correct.
Okay. But you have a memory of some time telling the defense that?
Yes.
But you don't know when?
I don't know when.
Same topic of your dad loving this song, I Did It My Way. When did that come up?
Over the years of us talking,
You talking with who?
with the defense.
Okay, and that's nowhere in any of these reports either?
No.
Okay, but your testimony today is that was one of your dad's favorite songs?
Yes.
And you sat with your family members, Luigi there as well. Luigi was part of that conversation?
To my knowledge, yes. That I remember.
When did that happen?
When Dad first was killed.
Okay, so with Luigi, you talked about the fact that he wanted to be cremated, and Luigi was there.
Yes, to my knowledge.
And then Luigi was also familiar with that I Did It My Way was one of your dad's favorite songs.
I don't know if he was familiar with it or not.
But again, that was the conversations with the defense at some time not documented anywhere.
Yes.
Then at the Lifetime Achievement Award, you didn't go to that one. That's the one that was in Toronto, correct?
Correct.
But you watched a video of it.
Correct.
And your interpretation of that video is that everyone was clapping and smiling and happy when your mom's saying, I did it my way.
Yes, and you could see that.
You could see that, because at that point your mom hadn't been charged yet with the murder of your dad.
Correct.
So people were happy hearing that song that she sang, I did it my way. Did you ever hear or see your mom sing that song after she was charged with murder?
No, maybe.
Maybe?
This is a really weird question, I think.
Well, did you visit your mom over the years, like routinely in custody?
Yes.
You went and visited her?
Yes.
Did that ever come up again, that song?
Not
So,
that I can recall.
And when you visited your mom in jail, were a lot of these conversations, did you update your mom about this divide that started happening between the family?
Of course.
And you felt that you weren't being treated fairly by Fabio's side of the family? Is that
Treated
fair to say?
unfairly, yes.
Okay, were you angry at them as well?
Of course.
And is it fair that if Morella said things to you, you were saying things back?
Of course.
Okay, so, and that was because you're standing with your mother.
Yes, and I was 18 years old.
That's fine.
Yes.
You were standing with your mother, and you still stand with your mother.
Yes.
And you don't want to believe that your mother killed your father.
Correct.
And it was hard for you then.
That's argumentative, Your Honor.
it's overruled.
So was it difficult for you to see your brother and your father's side of the family not believing your mother anymore? That was hard for you.
Yes.
Okay, so that caused a big divide, and to this day you still have this divide.
Correct.
And it affected your relationship with your brother as well.
Yes.
Your mother's side of the family, that's Anna and then your grandmother, you're still close with them.
Yes.
Okay. And the three of you, over the years, visited your mother while she was in custody.
Yes.
And is that on a regular basis?
Yes. Well, them no, but my sister and I, yes.
Okay. But they went and visited your mom as well?
Yes, but not regularly, but yes.
When they were in town?
Yes.
Also, your mom's other friends, Elise, Faye, you ended up not liking them anymore as well, right?
Right, because they're slandering my mom online.
And you didn't like anything that they were saying on Facebook or Instagram. It was upsetting you as well.
Correct.
All right. Now, when we talked yesterday, a little bit about, you touched on, I just wanted to go back. The time that you found Rob in your bed, you had testified that, I think you thought you were out of high school, but were you actually in high school at that time?
I'll allow this.
If it was 2016 in the summer, I don't remember when this happened, but if it was in the summer, then I had graduated already.
All right. Back then, though, did you tell the officers that you were in high school when this happened?
I don't remember.
We're looking at a transcript, refresh your recollection.
Yes.
And this is the February 21, 2017 interview, page 81 through 82. Let's let you take a read here from line 13 to the bottom and go into the next page. Okay.
Yes.
So you were in high school at the time.
Yes.
And I'm talking about the time when you found Rob in your mom's bed.
Correct.
And that was also the time, as you testified, that your dad was out of town.
Correct.
Did you tell Deborah Obad that your mom told you not to tell your dad what you had found?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Did
again?
you have a conversation with Deborah Obad and tell her that your mom told you not to tell your dad that you had found Rob in her bed?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Rob coming to the wake or the memorial that was at your house 6 days later, January 29th, 2017?
I'll allow council to reopen on this area.
Did you see Rob at the wake at your house or the memorial at your house January 29th, 2017?
Yes.
Did you see him out of place there?
No, there was a bunch of other friends and stuff that were there.
And did you have friends there?
Yes.
I believe my next in order is scene? 232. If I may mark a photograph, friends and family photo gathered January 29, 2017. Is this photo then, do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And what is that photo?
That's my sister, my cousin Vanessa, myself, my best friend Haley, and my other friend Selena eating in and out at our kitchen table.
Okay, is that you in the middle there?
Yes.
And that is on January 29, 2017.
Yes.
So you guys are all wearing in and out hats and have burgers. Did you have a separate food there than the rest of everybody?
Probably, yeah.
Do you remember anything about Rob Baker being at that memorial?
Not really. I was with my friends.
Do you remember him when he came or when he left or anything of any significance?
No.
Moving to the date of the murder earlier in the day, if I may mark as People's 233, it is an individual text change starting with ha-ha from Jesse.
All right.
And your number's been redacted. This text chain then with your mother, we went through some previously on Friday, but this was previous to that at 3:40 and 29 seconds. Is that the text your mom sent you, don't be late for babysitting?
Yes.
And then you responded, I won't, LOL, at 3:41.
Yes.
So that timing then, you left right after that to go babysit Deborah Obad's child, Max.
Yes.
Previous to this text that your mom saying don't be late for babysitting, did she call you?
I don't remember.
All right. I have it. Let me mark as people 234. It is a page from the Celebrate report starting at line 475.
Very good.
And showing you this then, again, here's your text on line 480 where your mother says don't be late for babysitting and you said I won't, LOL. Right before that, at 3:37, before your mother sent that text, she called you.
Okay.
Did that spark your memory that she gave you a call?
I don't really remember.
All right, well, there's no answer, so you didn't answer, but you remember receiving a missed call from your mom prior to you going to babysit.
I mean, I see that it's here, but personally, I didn't remember.
So she was just reminding you then to be out of the house and make sure you make it to babysit.
Because I was always late.
Okay. She didn't want you to be late.
Correct.
And you think you were babysitting at around 4?
Yeah.
And the final topic, when the defense had asked you some questions about when you got to the scene, when you first got there, you testified on Friday that a fireman told you that your mom had, that your dad had been killed, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell the police that you actually didn't know until you got in the house and your mom and sister told you?
I know on the transcript that I said that, but I remember it differently. I remember the fireman before I even walked in the door saying that, and then immediately when I got in the door, my mom and my sister were saying the same thing. So it was a traumatic day, and I don't remember what happened first.
Okay. I got it. When you interviewed with the defense team on August 29th, 2017, you walked through again what happened that day when you first walked in, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember what your mom said to you when you walked in the door?
No.
Did you tell the defense team in your report, August 29th, 2017, that your mom said they killed him?
Yes.
Who was they? Who did you think they were?
The knock-knock burglars that the detectives were telling us.
Okay, well, the detectives hadn't met with you guys yet, right?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, my mom thinks it's strangers, so they as in she doesn't know.
So when you walked in and your mom said they killed him, you didn't know who they was, right?
Correct.
So you didn't know anything about knock-knock burglars, correct?
Correct.
Your mom had not been told about, to your knowledge, about any knock-knock burglars. This just happened, right?
Correct.
But she used the plural, they killed him.
Correct.
All right, thank you. I have no more questions.
Absolutely.
Yes, Your Honor. Before you got to your mom,
first of all, you were notified by Deborah Obad to get over there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you recall what she said?
She said go home.
And when you went home, who did you first come in contact with?
Well, to my knowledge, the firefighter.
Okay. And you spoke to the firefighter?
I didn't speak to him. He just said that your father's dead, and I walked inside.
And then who did you speak to?
Isabella and my mom.
And who did you speak to first, Isabella or your mom?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And there was a lot of blood and a lot of wounds there, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You were asked questions about what was in the notes that we had taken of our interviews of yours. You remember that?
Yes.
And the question was, why wasn't cremation brought up? Remember that?
Yes.
Well, isn't it true that at the time, nobody thought cremation was going to be an issue in this case, correct?
Correct.
You thought everyone understood that it was going to be cremation,
Yes.
correct? You didn't know that coming into this trial, people would testify for the prosecution from the other side of the family that he didn't want cremation and it was never his decision. Remember that?
Yes.
And then we brought it up with you here on testimony here today, correct?
Yes.
And did you tell us the truth about whose decision it was?
Yes.
And was it true that it was yours and your sister's and Luigi's decision?
Yes.
Along with your mom?
Yes.
That there was no dispute about that or argument about that?
Not to my knowledge.
As far as this text from your mom, were you often late going to Deborah's house to babysit?
Yes.
So on this occasion, you got a text message from her saying don't be late, is that right?
Yes.
And then you didn't get any phone calls from her, did you?
Not that I remembered.
And what was shown to you, if I could have that. If you look at this, there's an outgoing call here that is at 3:37:59, and it's got 000 at the top. You see that?
Yes.
You know what that means?
I didn't answer.
Correct. So as far as you know, you didn't get another call from your mother, or any call from your mother, correct?
Objection states the testimony.
Right.
You got a text saying don't be late, meaning you were in your house still, correct?
Yes.
And you were going to Deborah's. How long were you at Deborah's?
I think an hour and a half.
Were there times when you would go to Deborah's and only babysit for a short period because she just needed you to watch the child while she ran an errand or something?
Correct.
Was there any set time, length, minimum that you would go there for or stay there for?
No, not really a set time.
Was it all random?
Yeah.
So there's no way of your mom having known that when you went there to babysit, when you would finish and come back.
Correct.
And at no time then did she call you and actually speak to you on the phone and try to find out if you were still there, did
Correct.
she? And your phone was on, you could have been easily been reached, is that correct?
Yes.
And the same way with the song My Way. Until we got to trial here, did you think there was going to be any controversy concerning the song My Way?
No.
Had it always been your dad's favorite song?
One of them, yeah.
And was that why it was sung a few times after his death at various events?
I believe so.
Did anybody from the family complain about that to you or anybody else?
No.
So the only problems occurred when after she was arrested and you made it clear that you were standing by her and didn't believe she was guilty.
Correct.
Everything changed then.
Yes.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. You are excused. We have Detective Rose back on the stand.